Is this in your way?
I would like to call to order the Haymarket Town Council work session for Monday, April 27th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Passanello. Thurston.
Here.
Gallagher.
Here.
Hader.
Here.
Capicello.
Here.
Baker.
Here.
DNA.
Here.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dude, I feel like I have to hop in that chair. All right, so this evening we have Gainesville District Board of Supervisors, George Stewart, joining us for an update.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everybody. George Stewart, resident of Dominion Valley. So, as many of you already know, the county withdrew from the lawsuit surrounding the digital gateway. And we did that in the last meeting actually the meeting before last, in a unanimous vote. And so we're out of that. We've also adopted a tax rate of 86.5 cents per $100 value of real estate, with no change in personal property or the county's 3% meals tax. We adopted a new building development fee schedule, which is available. The link is available online. And last month, Heathcote Marketplace Residential was approved by the Board of County Supervisors. So what this means is that the shared use path, say that 12 times fast, on Old Carolina and Jefferson was included in the proffers. And so I'll keep you updated on the timing as to when that's built, because we haven't gotten the actual build out schedule yet. So if that's going to be built early on in the project or at the latter half of the project, but I'll definitely keep you posted upon that. And the EDA is hosting a Calibrate conference for small businesses on Wednesday, May 6th, and spaces are still available to businesses who wish to attend, and registration closes on the 29th of this month. And with that, I'll take any questions if there are any.
Thank you so much for being here.
Sir.
I always have questions. You guys know that. They know that here. I always have questions.
New guy. Good.
New guy here.
New guy.
Sorry about that. One of the things I noticed is on Jefferson Street, across from the construction that's just been approved, is zoning signs over there. Anything you can share on possible zoning changes for there? What kind of construction, things like that? But the zoning change signs are now posted.
You mean on both sides of Heathcote?
If you're leaving here heading up towards Heathcote on Jefferson, on the left side is the community that's been approved.
Right.
On the right side are actual survey markers right now, and I think they're getting ready to do something in there as well.
I know that somebody came to the office asking about a project there, right? But we haven't gotten anything to the board yet. Maybe you could speak to that a little bit, but we haven't gotten anything yet to the board as to voting on anything. But I'm not sure if anything's been heard back as of yet, or.
No, it's an application that we have. It involves townhome developments. I shared this with council a while back. Council's more aware.
Sorry, I'm new guy.
I said, no problem. And we can talk about it too, Councilman. But no, I think we filed our first submission. We're working on our second submission. There's no public hearings at this point.
Okay.
So we're still working through the
Very early in the process.
Very
Yeah.
early, yes.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
The mixed use path, I guess it's kind of a question for both you and the town manager. Is Haymarket up to speed to the intersection or the exchange of property? In the sense of, have we built out to our line, or do we got to quick invest to keep up with Prince William County?
On the north side over here, headed towards Heathcote.
Yes.
So once we complete our portion here, it'll connect all the way up to Walter Robinson Lane. And then I will verify, I believe we have the ramp on the other side of Walter Robinson Lane in place, or that their project comes all the way down to it. But I can work with the county to verify that that's taken care of.
Yeah, because I don't know if there's any requirement for us to complete, or if we've built out to the property line.
I need to verify what DR Horton put in, but I'm pretty sure we got it to the county line.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I have.
Supervisor Stewart, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you.
You too.
Wanted to give you a chance, an opportunity to tell us your office hours in case anybody wants to come and visit.
Yeah, so our office hours are from 8:30. Typically, I'm there until 5 o'clock plus. I try to tell myself I'm going to get out at 5, but I think that happened once, and that's because I had a meeting to go to. But yeah, we have a do come by policy. You know, we'd love to see you. You know, you can either make an appointment, but if you want to stop by, that's 100% totally fine. We love it when people just swing by and see us. You know, it really is an open door policy.
Great. And thank you for coming tonight. This is your first briefing.
Absolutely, yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to ask you a little bit tougher question.
Yes.
Okay. Getting a lot of complaints
Mhm.
about the intersection of Cat Harpin and 55
Okay.
and that turn lane. And when and if that's ever going to get put in. Do you have any sense of the timing and when that might happen? And I'm talking about the western movement coming down the hill off of near 29, coming down, and you're approaching Cat Harpin. They're supposed to, my understanding was.
Right, they proffered from the data center of
Right.
that turn lane.
Right.
I don't know exactly when that's going to be in, but I will find out and get back to you before the end of the week.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be,
because that's supposed to be there.
yeah, we're getting, at least I know I'm getting a lot of complaints from folks. And when are they going to do it and blah, blah, blah. Why can't they do this stuff earlier in the phasing? So it makes it a little bit easier on commuters and, you know, the general public. So, and I'm not sure if that's something you can talk to your fellow board members about.
I can call planning. I can call Tanya Washington at planning and find out what the
Yeah.
schedule is. And that's coming from 29, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
We get stuck there.
Yeah, there, I mean, there are times where it's really bad.
Yeah.
I know, I've been caught in it myself.
Yeah.
I've been, yeah.
It's actually
Yeah.
faster sometimes to go out to
Yeah.
15 and come back to
Yeah.
town.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, yeah. I've been caught on that several times, but I will give Tanya Washington, I'll put in a communication with her in the morning and get back on that.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything else?
No, nothing
No.
else.
All right. Anyone else? Alexander?
Yes. The tax rate, did it go up? Did it stay the same? Did it go down? It just,
The tax rate.
Yeah.
Yep. So that has gone down from 90.6 cents.
Okay.
To
86, you said?
86.5 cents.
Does it have any relationship in terms of revenue from the data centers tax? Is that being?
Well,
the
yeah, and I
benefit
mean,
kind of-
here's what I'll say about that is that, you know, this is my first budget season in the seat. You know, I've seen budget seasons before and they've been pretty exciting, but it's different when you're on the court with it versus in the stands. We need a new way, a better way to increase the efficacy of how budget season works, where it comes around setting the rates. Now, I'll tell you just myself personally, and because I get, you know, we're all here on the western side of the county, so we see the data centers, we hear them, we smell them, we're the ones that have to live with them. And I've explained this to my colleagues up on the board. And, you know, this year I was really trying for a computer and peripherals tax rate of $5. And that made everybody on the dais a little nervous, right? I'll be honest with you, I'm pushing and the reason why I say $5 is you have to understand this industry is the most profitable industry that's ever been conceived by mankind, right? They can't print the money fast enough and they can't count it fast enough. They have to weigh it. That's how much money they're making. So next year, what my plan is, and I got a lot of work. I've already started, right? I want to go for $10. Computer and peripheral tax with a carve out just specifically for the data centers. And this way we're not painted into a corner, because when we publish the rate, we can't go higher than that. Now, while we may publish $10, we may not have to do $10. But if we want to do things like cut the personal property tax, et cetera, then what we have to do is we have to give ourselves some runway so that we're not boxed in, and we can ask finance in real time as we're sitting there, hey, what does this look like if we do CMP at $6.50? All right, tell us what the number is at $8, right? So we have some room. We may not hit 10, right? But if we need to, because, hey, you know what? We're so close to eliminating personal property tax. What's it look like at 10? So this way we give ourselves some options, and we can get projects done that really need to be done in and around the county. But when it comes to where the toughest burden of data centers are, it's here. It's here, and it's Brentsville. And so, what there is to do as I talk to my colleagues is to get them to appreciate, what it is that we deal with here, more windshield tours and that sort of thing. More coming out at night to go, hear that? That goes on 24/7, right? Noise ordinance, that sort of thing. This is welcome to the west side of the county. And so it's not too much to ask from an industry that's making money literally hand over fist. They can't build them fast enough. The electrical grid nationally can't keep up with the demand. And that's what's kind of slowing things down, is that we can't deliver energy fast enough to get these new data centers built. I think we currently have 42 online now, with another 40 in the pipeline, and some stage of development, most of which they haven't even had groundbreakings on.
Yeah, hopefully what you said will come to fruition in terms of lessening the burden on the taxpayer when it comes to reduction in taxes and so forth. But as you know, the energy need, right? The public is going to be subsidizing the data centers, because the build out, the ratepayer is the one who's going to be absorbing the cost, right?
Right. And I wish Danica was here, because she got a bill passed this year where she closed a loophole where data centers were responsible for only paying 85% of their bill. You know who, check the mirror, was responsible for paying the rest? We were. Also, the infrastructure build outs, we haven't tackled that issue yet, right? But when they build new substations, when they're putting up new lines that nobody wants to see instead of burying them, right? That shows up also in your bill. Yeah. So that's why I really feel like it is not even close enough. $10 for these guys, I'm aging myself when I say this, but the money in the ashtray in your car, they don't make cars with ashtrays anymore. But the proverbial change in your ashtray, that's all that is to them. That's all that is to them. They at $10, they'd laugh all the way to the bank. But promises were made 15, 20 years ago when this industry was invited to Prince William County on both sides. And I don't think that data centers are particularly great neighbors. I don't see their names on the back of any soccer or Little League uniforms or anything of that nature. And, if you're not going to do that, which is fine, not really, but you're going to have to be a good neighbor by subsidizing the county. and specifically subsidizing the west side. Because this is the community in which you inhabit.
Thank you. Thanks, Lou.
Anyone else?
Sorry, I'm taking up so much time. I can drone on about
No,
this
no,
stuff.
no,
all
you're
day.
fine. Thank you so much for the information.
Yeah, yeah,
And the passion.
yeah. I hate bullies, so, yeah, like really, yeah.
Anyone else?
No,
No,
appreciate you coming.
We're good. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Okay, I'm just gonna grab this for,
And sending
Turn
prayers
lane.
to the one who's not feeling well.
thank you
You're
very much. I really appreciate it.
All
Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay.
All right. So next on the agenda is our town manager report. Emily?
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Long time no see.
Good evening.
Okay. Sorry, it's a little warm in here this evening. One of my updates is our air conditioning's out.
Oh,
We are working on getting it fixed. It is over the current expenditure policy for the town manager expenditure. So a week and a half ago, I met with the mayor and briefed her on everything that was happening. And per our policy, she signed off on the emergency expenditure. And so it is going to be taking place, getting replaced very soon. We had to order the new system and it is en route. So hopefully that'll be fixed soon. Don't know if it'll happen before our next meeting, so we will try to make it as comfortable as possible and as quick as possible. Otherwise, if you've seen out in the community, we have survey work actively happening for the stormwater grant. So they were on site beginning of last week and worked through a lot of the surveying work on the residential properties. They are back in the community this week. We are doing work in the streets on the manhole areas, getting down, doing CCTV in those sections. There will be 3 areas that we are flushing to include right out front of Town Hall. They've been unable to accurately see everything going on down in the stormwater pipes, so they will be flushing the systems to be able to get a better view utilizing the CCTV. Happy to answer any questions there, but that is an ongoing process of the survey work. Yes.
Are we, when they flush it, am I going to be expecting to see a lot of trash come my way?
Let me follow up on the answer of that. I do not know the answer to that. So let me ask.
And is that a regular maintenance thing that should be happening anyway? The flushing?
I do not know the routine maintenance schedule of typical stormwater systems, but that is something when they do the final report that I'm sure they will give us. I can also inquire about that. Okay, moving along here, just kind of trying to hit the highlights for you guys. So website redesign, I'm working with staff to get the new site live. So I will say it's taken us a little bit longer because we lost access to an original account with our domain host. We are getting access back to that and should be able to get that new system online and functioning very soon. With the new design will come updates to the overall working system of the website, what's being put up there on the web pages. So we are very excited to get it done. It's just taking us a little bit longer with that domain access. The park RFP, we have discussed that is continuing to move forward in that manner. The land use development, the biggest update coming out of the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission recommended approval for the Schoolhouse Commons rezoning. That'll come up later on your agenda tonight to set a public hearing date for that application. We are tentatively looking at the June meeting for that public hearing session. Otherwise, land use development, everything is pretty standard as to be expected with returning comments to developers and applicants, and no major new projects have come in. The handout that I passed everybody, so the large paper in the memo, you don't need to read through that right now, but as you can, take time, please read through it. This is the beginning work that Lydia, our town planner, has been working on the comprehensive plans. So she's drafted this document to start with doing a comparison of 10 jurisdictions in the area and different factors that she wanted to compare them on. So this will be taken to the Planning Commission and discussed with the Planning Commission on recommendations that they should look at some of these jurisdictions, some things that were well received in these other comprehensive plans, and some areas that we might grow in. So just the first step in her research process to get us moving on our draft.
Emily, sorry.
Yes.
Going back to the website, I see that it's not reachable. It looks like maybe the SSL certificate has expired. Is that what you're referring to? We've lost our domain?
The whole site's not reachable.
Townofhaymarket.org. I'm getting a error message, almost
me
like
look-
the certificate has.
Let me look into that. It had been reachable previously, and we had been monitoring that it did not go down in this process. So I will look into that.
When you said that we lost access to the domain, I don't exactly know. What does that mean? What is it related to the website?
I don't speak IT,
Okay.
but what we were told is that with our new site, they needed to get in on the back end of it and do some changes with the domain host. When we needed to get them that information, we did not have that information. Where we needed to gather that information, we did not have access. So we are getting the access back to get them the host information that they need.
All right.
So we can talk.
Did
So
that make
we can
sense
talk
to you?
some more about it.
And
I
those
can
were the
say I
dot-
just got onto the website, no problem.
I did too.
Yeah.
I'm clearing cache and going back.
That, her issue is with the .gov.
.gov,
Yeah.
okay, okay. All right, thank you.
Do you want us to
Any-
ask questions as you go along? or do you
Sure,
wanna-
yes, please.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Next item, farmer's market has been a huge success. I hope everybody's had a chance to come out. We had a great first day and successful additional weekends. Sorry.
Right.
Today we had our Bob Weir Day. We already kind of started talking about some takeaways, some ways to improve, to include communication, getting the word out there in different manners, but also possibly a different time of day to hopefully encourage additional people to come out. So we will look for feedback if you have any that you would like to give. Both of our clerks returned from clerks conference this past month, so feel free to ask Kim and Alexandra some good FOIA questions, clerk questions. Those are the main highlights. Happy to answer. Wanted to keep it brief. I know we have a long agenda tonight. Mr. Passanello, I see you might have two.
Yes, yes. Can we just go back up to Chick-fil-A and their SUP site plan review?
Mhm.
So they're talking about doing the work in July of 2026.
That's correct.
All right, do we know the duration, how long that might be? Will it impact operations?
It
for
will
them?
impact operations. It is approximately a 2-week period. I can get you the exact dates as we get closer. They gave us a time schedule and we are looking at what that will be. They, of course, as we get closer, will nail down the exact dates. We did discuss with the business, the engineer, the construction team, myself, and chief regarding a noise variance. So in our code, it is authorized that the zoning administrator can waive a noise variance. So what we're currently planning with them is that they would like to do the demolition and do some night work. They explained through the entire process, the amount of sound, the decibels, everything. They gave us all of that. Chief and I reviewed everything, and we have initially granted them a noise variance. However, we have stated that if there is any issue in it, that we can revoke it, and they will need to do this during daytime hours. So we've told them some of our major concerns being the proximity of the houses and the daycare there as well. And then we also talked about daytime traffic, and if they were to do their construction during the daytime, how that affects the Washington Street, all the different traffic flows we have going on. So we are very aware of the two extremes, the daytime traffic flow and what that does there, but also the evening hours of construction noise. Right now, they're only projecting that the biggest noise is going to be the initial tearing of it up. We've asked them if they're able to do it on a Sunday when they are closed, if they're able to get in there and do it during the daytime. And then the only other perceived louder noise that we're expecting would be the backing up of some of the dump trucks as needed to pour concrete or any asphalt materials.
All right, 2 follow-ups to that.
Yes.
So do we know what time during the evenings they will be doing the work, given their submission? And the second question is, are we notifying the residents of the townhomes about this?
Yes, so we will be doing the notification process. We'll be sending it out to the entirety of the town, but also we'll be concentrating on that area for our businesses and our residents. We are waiting till we get a little bit closer into June timeframe, so we're looking for a 30-day out window on the notification process. We've also asked them to start posting signs in that same timeframe, 30 days out, so that people driving in and around will also see those visuals. And then I can get you the timeline and the hours. It's not in front of me, but I do have it.
Because I'm curious, when you say overnight, what does that actually mean?
Through the night or just?
That is, we've asked them to close early, so they'll be closing at 8 p.m. and starting work. I want to say they said they could start their crews at 9 p.m. and then that they would work through until the 5 a.m. hour. So it's very much overnight.
Yes,
Okay.
question.
Can I add questions
Oh,
on that?
absolutely.
Yep, ask away.
I think there were adjustments required to the bank parking. Is that
That's correct.
construction included in that?
So this was part of the conversation as well to the construction, was that they're trying to limit their construction and what gets put onto the bank property as well as the dentist property, and then the flows of traffic into the entirety of the site. And so we are talking through what avenues they're bringing in everything, coming in their main entry point, and then how they're exiting out as well. So the noise variance is, I would say, quite detailed in the sense that they have a lot of factors at play. It's a very tight site over there.
How are we planning on notifying the residents? He said notifying. But
Yes, 30 days out.
How? What?
We're
through what
gonna
medium?
do mailers, send out hard letter. Also, we're gonna put it on social medias through the app, the other channels, but we are sending a hard letter.
So sounds like there's a cost associated with it.
Yes,
Who's
there will be.
covering the cost? We are. The town is covering the cost. They're not covering the cost.
Correct. I mean, we can modify if you guys only want us to send it out electronically.
No.
But I think that it's a good service, a good practice to send it out.
We
So
can
mo-
utilize the farmer's market too.
What I'm saying, moving forward for such requests, is it possible to put some sort of,
On them.
yeah. Not now. Now it's too late, right? We've already approved.
It would
given
be
them
through a
the-
fee schedule.
Yes. Can we do that, maybe?
Good question.
Good question.
Yeah, I think the overnight's going to be the challenge.
1,000%.
That's,
Little kids and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of young families in there.
Has that happened before? Have we done it overnight?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think over at QBE or something, they did, right? There was some overnight work and
Moving the
When they moved the house.
house.
When they moved the house.
I don't know if there was approval per se, but
oh, no, there was.
Well, there was.
There was.
Wink, wink. One of those kind of approvals.
You want me
It wasn't
to?
fully thought out, though.
Is there anything else?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I have other topics, but yeah.
Hey,
not
listen,
on
I,
this one.
I have a month, saved up here, so. No, I'm only kidding.
Oh.
Relax. Take
Notice
it
that
easy.
fell dead on
Take
the
it
dais. That fell-
These are critical questions. So DR Horton, I'm reading here, DR Horton is going to offer to do the fix.
Thank you.
And my question related to that is that, well, first is a comment, good job getting them to see the light. That's very good for the homeowners. So it says here that, they're going to do the work and then we're going to re-inspect the completion of work. Are we going to have a time period to ensure that it is a proper fix so those folks don't have to come back again?
So I can get the time schedule from Lydia and Katie. They held the on-site meeting with DR Horton and their geotech and their entire team out there to discuss what the problem was. I will say their as-built and their bonds are all being held up on the proper fixes and the re-inspection of
So that's
this.
your leverage.
So they are very motivated to get this taken care of. I'll also state that their stormwater management agreement is also being currently worked on because they inadvertently had put their stormwater management system and property into a private person's name when they did the sale of a house within the neighborhood. We did alert that to them a couple months back, but they are just now taking action on that. So they have some things they're cleaning up.
So if I'm hearing you, there's leverage there and those bonds aren't going to be released. So that gives us an opportunity to make sure the fix is right.
Absolutely, yes. So the as-built will not be finalized and approved until this is fixed because it needs to be a documented portion of the as-built.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
One last question. So I was very intrigued reading about the Ramsay Hotel and Retail.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about that one?
I will tell you, this is part of that delegation where our town planner is working a lot on it. So what I can tell you that I do know is that the hotel and retail pad that are left in Crossroads Village Center have been sold to a different property owner. They are moving forward with the submission of a hotel site plan. Last I discussed with Lydia, I want to say that it is proposed at 5 stories. Yes, that they've submitted it at 5 stories. So this goes under that previous SUP for the height that was granted in 2019 timeframe. And then there's a small retail portion. If you're familiar with where Kitty Academy sits, the side that faces Washington Street, there's a small retail pad that's right in front of that. And that's a separate project that they're also submitting for, and parking. It's not connected to the building, but parking across the 2 sites will be shared and utilized. Mhm.
And rumor has it that they're looking for an SUP for that parcel, right? Or is that, or is that another parcel, which is where the sign is, right behind CVS?
That one. A possible SUP.
Possible SUP coming our way.
Are we talking about where Lidl was supposed to go? No.
No, so, thinking if we had our map.
Behind
down.
CVS, you said.
So behind CVS, so if CVS is here, right behind it used to be old pump sites for when it was Quarles property. And so there's an open space, a parcel right there. A majority of it is currently paved with asphalt. And then your hotel site sits right above that, and it's kind of a triangular shape. And then to the right of that is a small retail pad site that sits in front of Kitty Academy. Go ahead, Alan.
Unless Joey.
You have a follow-up? I just have one more question.
No,
but go
I'll
ahead.
let you finish.
All right,
Joe.
thank you. So QBE Schoolhouse rezoning, it talks about a waiver submission to the ARB. Is that something you can fill us in on, what that's all about?
Yes, so with the Schoolhouse Commons application, there's a couple waivers involved when it comes to a parking discussion, allowing parking in the front of QBE building due to its historic value and not moving a brick structure. There also could be a waiver modification for some buffers along the easternmost property line when it meets up with the commercial line and Prince William County. And then this waiver that Lydia references would be in relation to the COA that would be required for the demolition of the back 2 portions of the building.
Thank you.
Alexander?
Okay.
And it's not a waiver of not doing the COA. It is a waiver of doing the COA at a later date. It's that discussion.
Emily, if I'm not mistaken, I saw a sign where Lidl was supposed to go. Is that for sale? Is that pad for sale?
Yes.
Now, if and when sold, purchased, what have you, does it have to remain a grocery store or can
No.
it be by right? They can develop it.
They can develop it by right.
Right.
There is
Okay.
no requirement for it to be the grocery store.
It's B1, right?
It's
B1.
full B1.
So same thing with the hotel. Instead of the hotel, they can build something by right. It's
That's
not tied
correct.
to, okay, specific,
That's
okay.
correct.
But it does have an SUP to go 6 stories tall, so.
Yes.
For
You know,
spec-
most likely a hotel will go there no matter
Oh, yeah.
what. just
They don't want to
because of
lose
the
that. Yeah,
Capability.
okay.
You're talking about the hotel site, or the Lidl site?
No, the
Hotel
hotel
site.
site.
Hotel site.
But it could go to other things, but that SUP, someone's going to take advantage of it.
The SUP is tied to the hotel.
Yes.
But when they did the traffic impact assessment analysis, it was based on that pad being developed as a grocery store, right? Am I right?
Yes, so the traffic impact analysis statement was done for the townhouse portion, because that was the portion that was rezoned. And then the remainder of the Crossroads Village site was all B2. So that was all by right uses, but when they plugged in numbers for the rezoning of the townhouses, they did put in the proposed retail uses of the B2.
Without knowing exactly what types of business. are good.
Correct.
Okay,
But again, that was all and is all by right zoning.
okay.
With regards to, I think a note here for the Comcast franchise agreement, we did finally hear back from Verizon, it
Yes.
sounds like. Do we
Olan,
have an update?
finally, we got an email. Did you already meet with?
Yes, I met with him. We talked about some of the revisions I see he needs to make with the agreement. We had a really nice discussion, so it's moving forward.
Good, okay, thank you.
It was a little bit after the holidays than what they originally led us to believe, but we are here.
It's after the holiday.
It is.
They didn't say what
Which
holiday.
holiday? Exactly, exactly. Any other questions? I would say, as you have time, definitely read what Lydia put in front of you. Please feel free to meet with her, have conversations. I know she's very excited about this project.
Thank you.
Cool. I'll hand it over to Chief.
Yes, please.
Oh, boy.
Here we go.
Go get him, Sherpa.
Good luck hearing. It's very loud.
Hey, good evening. It's good to see you back there,
All right.
Councilman Passanel.
Hello, sir.
Hope your trip was good. It's always good to see you guys. Going on to the report, as you can see, our monthly calls for service was up, and it happens. We expect this. That's what well, you and council and us all put into place what we did last year. So we've been managing that. As you can see, we had 189 calls for service. 138 were dispatched, 51 were direct contact. And you can see on the next page, the combined calls for service, looking at the 5-year trend on that. So that was not quite our high water mark, but it was pretty close. But the good news you'll see here in a minute when we get to response time that stayed consistent. Business checks, foot patrols, enhanced patrols, and physical checks, 5,094, which is a high water mark for us. So even though calls for service were up and business was booming, so to speak, we were able to keep our preventative patrol patterns in a good, stable environment where we were making sure that the town was safe. You see our average response time stayed pretty flat, which is always a good thing, which means, we're managing, our resources are managing the calls for service as they come in, still providing good preventative patrol.
And that's
You-
with,
what's that?
even backfilling,
Yeah,
position.
but of
That's
course,
great.
we got the lieutenant out working, we got Randy out working, covering, for our deficiencies that we have right now, which we're hoping that both of those are coming to an end. As you see, the traffic stops took a little dip on that. When you're, doing a lot of calls for service and the preventative patrols, you're going to have a little dip. Not our low water mark by far, but still down a little bit at 101. Of course, summonses would go right along this can coincide with that, and you can look at the 4-year trend on that, along with the violations. Current total summonses issued up through 2020 or in 2026 is 168 at this point. Then you can get to the DMV grant consumption. As you can see, we've well, we haven't submitted the second quarter yet, but we're going to be submitting that tomorrow. Most of the paperwork is done for that. I needed to get a couple of more things from the treasurer this evening, which he's gotten for me. So far we've went through $7,615 and, had a really good quarter on hours. And then you can see DMV grant summonses compared to non-DMV grant summonses on the bottom of the page there for comparison. Our arrests are still up. They were up last month. They're up this month. And then, of course, hours spent on calls for service and follow-up investigations are remaining pretty consistent. Again, some of the calls do have a high complexity value, but others don't, and we're able to manage. You can see that out-of-town calls for service, helping out our brothers with Prince William was way up this month. And them coming in wasn't up, but it was higher than normal and helping us out, which they've been very beneficial to us. We've had a couple of higher complexity calls for service in the last month. We're having them, we're not just beneficial, but we needed to have them. Traffic volume report, when you look for the data points March 8th through April 4th on the eastbound, we were down about 3,000 cars. Which I looked back through. It was really shocking. I couldn't really find no anomaly that would point me out why we were down a little bit, but we were, which is fine. That's a good deal. Of course, when that goes down, so does the speeding. That's a good thing. So you can look at the data there, and then at the bottom of that page, you'll see the percentages by speed that were over in the speeding categories, and then you can see the actual numbers on the following page in the color charts there. Westbound on the flip side was up. So go figure that. I don't know. I guess some people were just trying to go a different route. I don't know if there was a construction outlaying somewhere that was causing people to want to go a different way through town, but still we were up on one side and down on the other. And of course you get the same thing. Speeding goes up when you got more traffic. Just is what it is. So you can see the data on that. Nothing remarkable other than the calls for service were up above average. But again, we were able to maintain a constant presence in the town and take care of the citizens and preventative patrols. Current projects, we did hold the annual senior summit last week, but at the time of the submission of this report, and the date range is outside, so I didn't have really anything to tell you other than that we had over 150 attendees registered at that point when I submitted this report, but we were closer to 200 on the day of. Went off without a hitch. It was very well attended, very well received. They could have got a little bit better keynote speaker, but I think the mayor stepped in and really saved the day.
Who was the keynote speaker?
Me. So, but the mayor, as always, stole the show. Her video about the town and rooted in the businesses here was just exceptional. It was like, I don't know, what was the video, 3 minutes, and your talk was 2, and
Yep.
I don't know, it felt like she talked for an hour, really. It was really impactful. She did a really great job, of course, as she always does. A couple other projects are still in their same status as far as drone replacement and e-summons vendors. Then we also took part, of course, in the put your phone away or pay campaign as mandated by the DMV grant. Sorry, there's a double entry there. But Sergeant Finley wrote 25 hands-free violations in 1 week. Wow. So did an exceptional job. Of course, Donald, 25, what's that?
Sounds like a
Yeah. So it's, and that's a real problem. And of course you're, depending on the stats that you look at, anywhere between 3 and 7 times more likely to be involved in an accident when you're on a device or any type of distracted driving. So, very impactful and we appreciate Donald taking that initiative and really stepping it up and, hoping that he educated as many people as he wrote a summons to. So, I forget the exact stats, but I think he gave maybe 15 or 16 breaks warning. So it was, you can say that he could have wrote probably 40 tickets that 1 week. So, and of course, that's it's not just about the person driving the car being involved in an accident. It's about who they hit. Whether it's in a vehicle or walking across one of our walkways. So we're glad that he did an excellent job. We had a couple of arrests, and of course that was one of the reasons for calls for service go up if you have an issue that's festering and you just can't get relief. I think we had to deal with the same individual 4 to 6 times over 3 days. And, of course, it was never an easy task, but Sergeant Dragoon got assaulted on one of the arrests. But he's fine. He didn't need any medical intervention, but still, that was what we had to deal with. The National Drug Take-Back Day was held Saturday. I don't have the stats on it yet, but as you can see in the entrance here, it was just scheduled for the 25th. We did hold a Coffee with a Cop event on April 8th. Again, the mayor stole the show there as well. Great job. Glad that she came down and visited with us. And we saw some old friends as well that used to hang out with us over at Haymarket Coffee. So it was a really good deal. May 1st, as a reminder, is National Heat Stroke Prevention Day. So make sure you're taking care of yourselves. We'll also be running our National Click It or Ticket Initiative, May 11th through the 31st of next month. Lieutenant Davis held his first class of the year for women's self-defense last week, and it was exceptional. Said everybody there had a really great time. We provided several tours this last month and spoke to Boy Scouts. Lieutenant Davis, Sergeant Finley did a great job in talking to some Boy Scout troops along with Officer Madigan and some local homeschool families. Did want to note that Sergeant Dragoon and Galbraith, Officer Galbraith, did an excellent job finding a 5-year-old boy just before he was going to walk into some deep storm water, as a matter of fact. So that was an excellent job on their part. Then kind of moving down to the bottom. I did not include it in this report because at the time we hadn't initiated it, but our in-car cameras and body-worn cameras program went live and in production on April 16th. Along with full policy and general orders on that. Officer Galbraith and Sergeant Dragoon did a great job. There was a lot of training involved, a lot of different things that we had, boxes we had to check. It was a long process, but I can tell you it's already paid dividends beyond what you would know, quite frankly. Not just for one of my biggest points with that program was the officer protection value, but quite frankly, it's been a great evidentiary value. And continues to be just in the short time that it's already been initiated. So it's been very helpful to us already as an investigative tool, catching more than we were catching on the body cams. Of course, I've already told you about the initiatives coming up next month. We're also looking at Torch Run, Ice Cream Social, and the annual end of the year water balloon battle that we're going to have down in Longstreet Commons here in the next 6 weeks. So hope you get your throwing arm back in action.
I'll be there for next year.
Okay, good deal. No, I was just kidding. So that's kind of the overview. Questions? Mayor?
Questions?
Yeah, Chief, obviously, this day and age, we see a lot of people, every time you guys appear somewhere, it seems more common these days that, some social media post is getting out there and, usually in one of the HOAs or something like that. I'm curious how you guys are, do you have a policy for how you respond to that or kind of what, and who should be doing that from the department?
Well, I take care of all the social media posts. Now, obviously, depending on what the post is, right? If it's something that has taken on a life of its own that you need to rectify, then yeah, you should definitely address that. But quite frankly, you got trolls out there that are just trying to poke a bear about inaccurate information. And you would spend your whole week just trying to put out every little fire. So if it's something we're going to release about, we'll release the general information, and that's what you get. Otherwise, file a FOIA. You don't want that runaway train on social media, but there's a lot of things that you can't do to prevent it either. You put out the basic information, and for either the information that you're allowed to release or the information that you feel is important to the community that they need to know, and then that's it. It's done. Because otherwise it just becomes quid pro quo, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And that's usually when somebody's going to say something that you shouldn't, quite frankly, or you're going to release information that you shouldn't, or feel like you feel pressured into doing that. So we just leave it lay there. Now, obviously, all of us monitor social media outlets, areas, those little Facebook pages and things like that around. You're not going to see everything. You're not going to catch everything, but you do try to stay ahead of it as best you can. And then keep moving forward. But no, as far as policy, I take care of it. But there's no retort. We're not going to do the back and forth thing. I'm not going to address each individual citizen individually. If they have a question, my door is always open, obviously, but other than that, that's how we handle
And I appreciate that type of a response.
it. I hope it was the right answer.
You gave the right answer. Yeah. No, it's a concern because we're seeing it more and more. You know, you said yourself, you know, the calls for service, you know, went up. We're seeing more traffic in town. We're seeing, you know, and then everybody's got one of these devices now, and you just start to see a lot of things. And sometimes I've seen things that then quickly get deleted, or you know, the rumor mill starts on different sites. So it's kind of why I just wanted to really kind of call out our question. What I suspected was that you're probably monitoring it and choosing when to say something and when to not.
Right. Sometimes it's best not to say anything depending on what the issue is. But you try to address it accordingly and you try to be ahead of it. But quite frankly, information moves much faster than my fingers. It's just the way it is. And the mayor this week informed me of something that was going on that I hadn't been made aware of. Matter of fact, it was still actionable. The officers couldn't even answer me when I called them because they were still in the middle of it. But she already knew. Right. And it wasn't because she's seen it or drove by. It's because somebody she knew drove by and seen it. And it was already up on Facebook before I even had found out about it. And we're talking minutes of when it happened. And you know what? Once it's out there, people's opinions are out there and everybody takes opinions as fact.
Yeah.
And most of the time the opinions are totally inaccurate, which means the facts are totally inaccurate.
Well, it's on the internet, so it's true, right?
Exactly. So you do the best you can to combat it. And, you know, we're transparent. I mean, I've never not answered a FOIA request. I've never used discretion on anything. Yeah, I'll put it out there. So, but that's the place for it there, not to be fought over on social media.
Agreed. Thank you.
Did you have a question?
Yeah. So I noticed that the arrest, the 2026 for both March and April, there was a jump there.
Pretty static,
Yeah.
pretty remarkable
Same
jump.
number, yeah. But within the county, numbers had come out for 2025 that everything was down.
Mhm.
Do we see, other than this anomaly here, do we see things, a downward trend on other things?
Well, as far as arrest, it goes up, but calls for service. Obviously, if you look at calls for service up, you look for arrest is up as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, not every call for service is going to need an arrest, and most don't, quite frankly. Most, there's not even a fact that there would be a crime that has been committed. It could be a civil issue or just an informational issue, a traffic thing. You know, it could be any one of 100 things, right? But we've found ourselves in the fact that some of the stuff that we're answering lately, the last 2 months, has been more criminal than not, which is put the arrest up there. Overall, we're still not seeing any violent tendencies. We're not seeing any criminal trends that we have to worry about. It's location, you know, sometimes it just happens to be here. The stolen car the other day, what's the odds that it would end up here? What's the odds? I mean, all the way from Goochland, and it ends up in Little Haymarket. It happens. But again, it's the transient behavior for the most part. Again, that one issue I talked about a minute ago and a couple of others, yeah, that constant call for service, that little festering issue that we're trying to get taken care of. But still, most of our behavior, be it criminal or just a plain call for service, is the transient behavior. The people stopping in town for whatever or this or that. Not necessarily criminal activities here that's afoot. So nothing to be worried about. It would not shock me if you see it just go right back down next month. 2 months in a row is a little unusual. I will give it that. But again, you know, we have some different tools that you've empowered us with that are helping us do a little bit better on the criminal side, which is always a good thing. Crime prevention is where it's at, and that's why we put those things in place. So, but overall, we're still very static. We're still in good shape. We're handling our calls for service, and everything's good. Nothing to worry about.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Justin?
Thank you. Do we have any data for traffic volume east and west side from 2025, or is that too early before we got the cameras installed or the?
No, we had at least one active. I can get you some data. Let me see how far back I can go.
Okay.
We replaced one of the data collection points, and then we replaced the other one because we were trying to get one on the grant to offset the cost.
Gotcha.
right? So one's been up a little bit longer than the other, but let me see how far back it goes, and then I'll ship it off to you and the total council. Is there any specific month? Are you looking by a monthly rate?
Just probably compared to what we have with the east and
Sort of a
westbound.
trending data?
Yeah,
Mhm.
if you can put that in
Yeah.
there, just to compare.
Yeah, I'll go back as far as I can. How's that?
Yep,
One side will go back further than the other, I can tell you
Yeah.
that.
that's perfect. Thank you.
Now you got my brain running.
Oh,
Um,
Oh, that smells
Sorry.
something.
Do we have it broken down by the day, but do we have it broken down by the hour?
We can.
Where I'm trying to go with this, like the volume, do you see that? Yeah.
We can pretty much break that data down any way you see fit. Those are two very good pieces of equipment out there that takes that data, and we're paying for the software to make sure that we can get whatever.
It might be
Whatever
good to see it
council
from an
needs.
hourly rate.
Yeah.
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 Now you got to remember the amount of data you're looking at.
Yep.
I mean, that's a hefty report.
Yep.
A hefty report. I mean, you would probably need to break it down. I mean, if you wanted to look at a 1 month spread, I mean, think about the hours that
Or
is.
like
How would you
an
make
hourly
that?
average by month.
Okay.
I'm thinking something like that. That would help my brain kind of understand.
But just keep in mind also that, you obviously have hours that's high volume and hours that's
Yeah.
hardly any volume.
Sure.
So the average, it'll give you an average,
Like,
but
I
you're going to
expect
see,
like
you're
a
going to see 80% of that average within a 9-hour time span.
Yeah, I would expect
Yeah.
to see like a rise around 8 o'clock, start to tail back off, and then come back up around 3:30, 4 o'clock.
11 to 1.
Yep.
And then again from 3 to 5.
Yep.
Those are your mad times in town.
And then superimpose the violations on that.
That'd
What's
be
that?
interesting
Then
too.
superimpose the violations
We are
on that
talking
when
about
you're getting it.
Well,
Crazy numbers now.
Yeah, we use that data. We can break that data down to benefit us on working traffic. Not just looking at your ridges and your peaks and valleys, but looking at more internal data of when people are speeding. So you might sit there and say that, okay, between 2 and 3, it's a little less traffic, but might have more speeders during that time. So we do use that data to make sure that we're doing concentrated controls to try to thwart speeding when we can. So we can break the data down however you see fit. I mean, it'll break down in a lot of different ways. So we'll get you some stuff together and even have a little sidebar, make sure you got everything you want. It's not a problem, just a couple clicks of the button.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? No? All right. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So we are now going to move on to our agenda items. First up is Roberto with the monthly financial report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Switch it up a bit there,
Good evening.
I don't know if there's any specific questions on the current budget. I can say that we are definitely looking on the positive trend, definitely in the black. Currently, right now, just tidbits, I am working on the audit for FY 2025 pre-audit. We are currently still collecting the business licenses. We're getting a few of the last minute ones coming in this week as they're due by Thursday. I don't know if there's any specific questions from council concerning the current budget.
I automatically look to my right. Don't ask me why.
Nope,
No.
no, I'm catching up.
Thank you, Justin. No, nothing on this side?
I was waiting for Alexandra and Joe.
No? So just noting that Councilperson Justin Baker is having to leave at 8:03.
803.
Thank you.
Well, if there's no questions on this, do you want to go into the budget, proposed budget, draft budget?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Okay. Just a reminder, next Monday, we will have our public hearing for the proposed budget. The proposed budget the draft budget is assuming with the standard, keeping the real estate tax rate flat. The rate itself is flat, but obviously the increase will be per assessments. We have made some of these changes. I'm not sure if there's any specific questions we have on the budget before we have presented to the public for public opinions and comments on it Monday. If there are any concerns, I know I did speak. We did meet, Councilmember Yen and I did meet. We had a great conversation. After 4 years, we were both on the same page on something. But no, it was really, we were able to kind of talk out some of his questions he had at the last work session. So I think we're in a good place on that. We both are on the same page when it comes to that.
So based on the work session, I guess, and the previous meeting that I wasn't here, what are the major changes that you made to the budget?
The major changes were that we actually moved 15,000 at the request of Councilmember Larson, and the rest of council agreed. We moved 15,000 from the comprehensive plan consultant line item into the blight to beef up some of the blight mitigation expenditure line items to 20,000.
Which number?
That would be,
Where is that?
See that on the top one of page 27.
thank you.
Yeah, but
28.
Sorry, I'm looking at this one too, the small one.
Did 94107?
701, yeah, 9407.
Yes,
94107?
yes,
Yes.
yes, correct.
Got it. And moved over 15 from the comprehensive plan.
Consultant,
Okay,
yes.
got it.
Yep, and I don't know if anyone has questions on this to discuss on the current one? Yes.
Yeah, well, just an observation. In the general, you're going to be presenting, I'm gathering package pages 26 and 27 on Monday. Essentially, the abridged version of the budget. And so the general property taxes show a 4.6% change there, right? The only thing I want you to take a look at in the numbers is cross-reference it to packet page 28, if you would, please. It's showing 4.4%. Now, I mean, it's not a big difference, but it is different. So maybe,
I'll take a look at that because they're all Excel files are talking to each other. So thank you for
Okay.
letting me know that. I'll make sure that that's correct, that percentage.
right. And the other thing is, I think that's important, is that people understand it's a 3.7% in the real estate. Not, some people might look at this and think, oh, 4.6, that's not correct. Those are my only observations.
Thank you. I'll take a look at that.
Not just the percentage, but the amount. They're not matching up. So yeah,
Isn't it matching up?
you've got 19,174 versus 24,312. So the increase amount.
Because on the page 26, it takes in the public service
Right.
tax rate together. So that would equal the 24,312. That's why.
Correct. Page 29 at the top, the various revenue items from lease. For WSR Solutions LLC, we're going from 6,222 to 7,138, which is, I think, an increase of 916. That should be under proposed changes, right? That amount, 916?
It's got the escalator in there, right?
Yeah, it's an escalator in,
What I'm saying is not reflected under
oh, not
proposed
reflected, yes.
changes
I'll
column.
check on that too.
Okay, and then the next line item, it looks like where it's increasing by 4,590. If that's the case, it should be 11,016 as opposed to 7,138 for Red Rock Title and Settlement LLC.
Yep.
So when you add those two numbers,
So
6,000.
that was prior to us amending the budget. So I would actually check that number, 4,000, when this budget was, we started working this in November. So I'll double check that math too.
Okay. all
Yeah.
right. I know we talked about this last time so that I am on the same page. and I don't know about everyone else, but can we go to other revenues and expenditures and account for those revenues and expenditures again? I know we talked about it last time.
What line item?
So page 36, right? Line item 50,000 and, other revenues and other expenditures.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
so the budget line item 5,000, 50,001, I guess. American Rescue Plans Funds is going from 108,000 to 1.1 million, which is an increase of 992,000, right?
Mhm.
So that's 1.1, I'm assuming is going to be 50% for the town center? Not quite. I know you.
Not quite, because
not
we're gonna,
quite.
we're gonna
300.
combine the transportation as well
Okay.
to create, yep.
So 1.1 from ARPA and then 1.1 from loan proceeds, right?
Correct.
That leaves us $300,000.
In the 300,000 is from the proffers. You'll see it there, the 300,000.
funds.
That's part of that overall cost. That's, yeah.
So 443,664 is going to be for parks, right?
Correct.
Parks
For
and
the
Rec.
RFP, yes.
And then
Engineering.
$300,000 is the difference.
Is for the transportation portion that we're going to use, yep, for
To get
the
us to
turn
2.
lane.
To get us to 2.5 million.
Correct.
Okay. Now, line item, what is it, 50,000 to, is it? Capital improvements funds, 371,800. What is that covering?
That is actually covering on the bottom here, you'll see the police department equipment, 121,800. The Washington streetscape. It's also covering it's also covering the sidewalk repairs on page 37. Town hall museum securities, 100,000, and then the maintenance vehicle, 50,000.
Okay. And where are those funds coming from?
The CIP fund that we have created that's separate from the general fund.
Okay.
So that's its own thing. And again, though it's budgeted there, it doesn't mean that we will expend it out. For whatever reason, sidewalk repairs, we've put it there in the CIP schedule. It's always something we want to get to, but obviously we have not had the opportunity to do so. It's kind of the reason why we're also really pushing for that procurement policy to assist us with that. The maintenance vehicle, my understanding is I think the chief and the TM are really trying to work on getting it on this current budget. We have 2 months left. If that were to be executed before the end of the month, end of this fiscal year, we would not necessarily have to spend that 50,000 on the maintenance vehicle.
Okay, all right. And then in terms of what Roberto and I agreed on is, what I mentioned last time we met is I noticed, and I don't know if the rest of you noticed, but increase in revenue, well, the increase in expenses is higher than the increase in revenue, right? And what we agreed on is that if we continue this way, we're going to eat more and more into our surplus, right? So that's something that we agreed on, right? Does that make sense?
Well, I hear what you're saying. The increase, you said the increase in expenditures is
Expenditures
outstripping
higher.
the increase in revenue.
Revenue.
Right, but the
Correct.
question then becomes, is the revenue covering the operating costs, and are the additional expenses related to funds that we've set aside for the CIP rather than from operating in our reserves and ARPA and those things? That's,
Yeah, I mean, Councilman Passano, I think you and I have had since 2021. We've been talking about this, and with Bob, I shared with Councilman Villene that yes, he is correct. I think it goes back to decisions that were made in the past 4 or 5 years. We only have a certain amount of stream of revenue that we can get. I think with Bob and I, we always battled this out, but there was always, a challenge of what we can, unlike the county, they can reduce the taxes, but as you can see, our board of supervisors, they have other streams of revenues that they can collect from. So yes, I mean, this is something I think we've always discussed, that with time, kind of reducing our tax rate or whatever, how it would affect us in the later years. If you remember, the financial analysis was assuming keeping a steady rate, a flat rate but with just the natural increases, I think it was 4%, they were calculating for the next 5 years. It wasn't that much of a difference, but obviously, when Councilman Bayan and I talked, I told him that once these projects start getting executed, we will start seeing those streams at surplus not be as much and kind of go back more to the normalized. Prior to this council was, around the 200, 300,000, if that. But it also just depends, too. The town's been in a great financial position. At times, though, they're going to have to revisit the expenditures at some point. Right now, though, one of the bigger projects that we have is we're in a position that we have a lot of proffers and obviously the remaining ARPAs that we've dedicated for these specific projects.
Yeah, not saying that we're going to run a deficit, right? We're still going to run a surplus if everything works out, right? You never know what the future holds.
Right.
But it's going to be, the surplus is going to be less and less if we continue, So that's what.
Do we need to forecast out when we need to start taking action? Thoughts about that?
Don't know
I
if we
think
can.
from our conversation we were having, it depends on what we have, on what this council or the prior or the future councils decide to go forward with. Obviously, we have forecasted how we are going to be able to maintain the project of the town center, the site plan. Obviously, the park. I think we've been very open about it in discussions where we have to look at other ways of funding it, not just solely on a loan or the town's putting up the cash, be it grants, help with the county, maybe partnership with the county. That is something that's going to be a major per our strategic plan. It's number 2, the park. That's something we really have to revisit and really, plan it out. And that's something maybe we would have to get our financial analysis to come back and see if it's even something that's doable.
Well, it's in our strategic business plan. Isn't
Correct. It is. But even though it's strategic,
Yeah.
To make it the proper way, it doesn't mean necessarily that if we can't afford it, we don't want to put the town in that position. That's just another decision we have to make. It has taken us a while to get to the decision to feel comfortable with the town center site plan. I think it will be another great opportunity for another exercise to see how that would be even feasible or how it could be accomplished if the board, wants to go forward with it.
Yeah, we can do that exercise in finance and bring it back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
Nope.
No?
I think that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Roberto.
See what happens next week.
All right, so we're going to move on to the rezoning application for 14600 Washington Street and setting a public hearing date. Emily?
Yes, thank you. So as previously mentioned, the Planning Commission went through their review process of the rezoning application for the Schoolhouse Commons at 14600 Washington Street. At the April 14th meeting, the Planning Commission discussed the application and made a formal recommendation of approval. You have a memo in your packet on page 38 and 39, and the staff directive is for the town council to set a public hearing on June 1st for the Schoolhouse Commons rezoning application. You also have in here on the following pages, the staff report that came out of Planning Commission for your reference, as well as on page 54 and 55, the resolution that was passed by the Planning Commission. And then lastly, there would be a second public hearing notice that we would like to set. It is also in alignment with this application for the Schoolhouse Commons. And that's for a public hearing for the town council to discuss the abandonment of the VDOT maintenance road. This is more of a formality from VDOT that the town council needs to hold a public hearing in order to officially recommend the abandonment of the maintenance road, which is the actual exit road coming out of QBE. It's not the entirety of it, it's a portion of it. And that's a holdover from when VDOT helped maintain that property for snow removal while it was a public school. It's us helping them do cleanup in their VDOT system.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into any of the discussion. This is,
Correct. This is simply
This
to
is- I
set
understand.
a directive to set,
it's a VDOT question.
oh,
Are they going to require a resolution?
yes. And
Okay.
we have draft resolutions. So we would go through a public hearing process for that road abandonment, and then they would require a resolution.
Very good. Okay. Thank you.
So again, both of these are simply to have a directive to set a public hearing date proposed for June 1st at 7 PM.
Do we have any questions?
It's just to set the dates, right?
It's
So-
just to set the
Just
date.
to set
Yep.
the date.
Yep.
No objection.
No
No
objection.
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 Okay, thank you.
I'll have questions later.
All right, so we're going to move on to the discussion for the procurement policy. Look, I almost messed that one up too.
Okay, so we're on packet page 57. Well, 58. So in your agenda packet tonight, there was a draft procurement policy. So Roberto and I have been working on drafting a updated procurement policy, really spending some time to flesh out some of the areas that our policy is currently lacking in, to include discussion on the sole source procurement, small purchases, and then also bringing the procurement up in times to what is more current, especially with current expenditures. So the goal tonight is if there's any immediate feedback, taking immediate feedback tonight, but asking all council members to review and provide feedback on this so that we can keep this moving. I will say one of the bigger things that we have tried to work on and have hit some hurdles with some of our projects is the ability to utilize sole sourcing. And so we are looking for that to be added to this policy. And I'm happy to take questions. Roberto, I know also can help answer. I know our finance liaisons, at least one finance liaison has a couple comments. And I will, of course, fix formatting as it gets more finalized. So I'm sorry for any formatting issues of the document.
And wording.
Yes. And wording.
You want comments?
Yes,
Yeah, do you-
floor is open for comments.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. General observation, I think a lot of it's boilerplate and relates to the Code of Virginia, which is important. I think it's pretty well done. I know we stated down below, but in the purpose section, perhaps we can state what the VPPA, what that code is up there. It doesn't really matter, it's just preference.
On page 60.
Oh, yeah, page 60, thank you.
And you're wanting what? Jeff?
If we could put the code referencing Virginia Code 2.2,
Okay.
whatever it is. we can
Oh,
put that,
you want the number
Yeah,
and the
put it right in
bottom
there in
of
the
the paragraph?
introduction.
Okay.
Right, and then you don't have to say anything later. So we're talking about conflicts on the same page. If this ordinance conflicts with the mandatory requirements or provisions, is that what we mean to say? Of the Virginia Public Procurement Act? Just feels like it's missing something. in there.
Provisions of. Okay, got that one?
Is there any difference between council and governing body?
No, there's no difference.
Okay, do we need both?
The council is a governing body, so
Right.
it just defines what type of governing body you're talking about. We have
Okay.
board of supervisors, is a governing body, council is also a governing body.
Okay. Page 61, I guess there's a need to insert a paragraph there under construction, second, under business, if you go to business. Right.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay. I know you didn't want to hear all this, but
It's okay.
I did read it. Professional services definition. When we talk about work performed by an independent contractor, is it including but not limited to all of these practices? It's not just these practices. There could be others, right?
Let me re-review the VPPA definition because this is particular and direct to professional services as defined in the act. So I can review that one to ensure that it's all encompassing, and if not, modify the language to make it as appropriate per VPPA.
Understood. Thank you. Small businesses, is it also under the VPPA that it's restricted to the United States businesses and not elsewhere?
Let me
Page 63.
let me verify that one as
Okay.
well.
It probably prefers it, but I'm not sure if it's limited to that or not.
I just wonder if the US has a different definition of what a small business is.
They have many definitions of what a small business is.
What does AI tell us?
Oh, I'm not going to get into some of this other stuff, but on page 64, it says effective date August 13th, 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I got a little confused there. So that, both of those, A and B.
Yep.
Okay. Under page 66, it talks on unauthorized purchases. Except as herein provided, no elected official, blah, 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 other than through the town manager. Should it be town manager or designee?
Yes.
I love the concept of cooperative procurement. That's great. That's something we should be doing, if at all possible, to save money. Just a couple of things, Em. Relative to our previous procurement, which was only what, one page? And now
Yes.
we're going to this.
Yes.
How are we, I mean, I noticed the limit at 25K. So what was it previously, and why are we going up to 25K and not something between 10 and 25?
He's 25K. So previously in the procurement policy that we have today, it is at 10 grand. We looked at some other jurisdiction examples that we often look to for some of these types of documents. It seems that the lower end of the standard is at 25,000 with these other jurisdictions. Some of them go up quite significantly. We, however, in discussions with myself, the treasurer, and our chief of police, felt that this was a comfortable number that would allow us to still, work within the appropriated budget, but also have checks and balances for expenditures that would need to go to the finance committee and the mayor and council.
Good answer.
Okay.
Follow up.
Okay.
Good answer and follow up. So I don't see anything in here about notification to council and finance. Or am I
Do
missing
you
it?
want notification? Because what we have is that anything greater than the 25,000 must be awarded by the town council. Is there?
But you can do a purchase up to 25K, and what about council or finance knowing about it? I mean, that was
And I
typically what
think
we did.
part of the conversation should be if it's appropriated within the budget, what additional notifications does council want on those purchases? So if it's already an appropriated amount, are you okay with the expenditures, or is there a threshold where you want notifications?
Well, some of it might not be appropriated if something pops up.
And I think that would fall under a different section,
Okay.
or we can kind of have that conversation of where it would fall when it comes to emergency expenditures. Because right now in our procurement policy on certain types of emergency expenditures, we can go through with purchases. And then there is a notification process of the mayor as well as the council at the next appropriate meeting.
So what are you looking to have this button down, do you think? Next meeting?
As soon as possible. I mean, it has been one that we have been working on for some time, but certainly we want to do it the right way. So, and I mean, I will say on page 69, Joe, there is the small purchases section. So the things that are less than, we still have put in here language on, the appropriate method of how to
Right.
acquire,
Documented quotes, right. Got it. All right,
on
so
the bottom
other-
of page 68, I mean, we can expand emergency purchases. Right now, it has written determination by the town manager on the basis of the emergency and for the selection of the particular contractor shall be included in the contract file. I can add a sentence here that says, additional wording on notifying the mayor and town council.
I think that makes sense.
We can do that.
For transparency and for information, I think it's important that council be aware.
And then maybe
100%.
reducing the threshold from 15 to 10K. That would be
Where
something.
are we talking?
Aren't we already at 10?
I think I would agree with staff on this one, because when you think about it, that 10K was what, 8-10 years ago,
I was
maybe
just
more.
gonna say
And
that.
let
Just think
me,
about inflation.
let me give you just a couple quick examples of this scenario where it's happened. So certain maintenance and like routine maintenance or updates that we've needed to do. So if you're talking even paint, some of the routine maintenance outside, those things start to get closer to that $10,000 mark. And so there are some routine expenditures that we would have that the day-to-day operations are starting to be affected by the $10,000 limit, just based on that cost of doing business, materials, time that we're seeing.
Yeah, maybe not when it comes to purchase of things, but services, right?
Services. Mhm.
Right. So setting the limit of 15,000, it means that if it's less than 15,000, all you have to do, what's required of you is just to contact the first business, right? Service provider, and say, hey, come and do this work, as opposed to trying to get the best price by at least contacting two or more.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you have to get some quotes.
Yeah.
You have to make an
So that's
effort.
what I'm trying, not purchase of things, but
Yeah.
definitely when it comes to the service, right?
But I think it's covered, isn't it?
So how it is today is, I'm trying to think of the exact wording. If it's under the 10, it's recommended that you get as many up to the 3 verbal quotes or communicated quotes. We can still put that in here. I'm trying to think of examples. Chief, do you have more on your side? We sometimes run into these smaller quotes with people not wanting to come in for a $3,000 quote.
Well, in this case, would be if it
Sole
exceeds,
source.
if it exceeds 10K, right? Or expected to exceed 10K.
Are you on page 69 under small purchases? So you're referencing if it exceeds more than 15 but is under 25,
Mm-hmm.
referencing that part to secure 2 or more?
Yeah. That's what, yeah.
And that is how we commonly practice as it is today. So when we did flooring updates, we got 3 companies to come in, give flooring quotes. The most recent painting that was needed, same thing.
So it's always been 15?
No, it
Okay.
has been 10 in the
10.
past.
We're-
So it's 10 currently.
Inflation.
I think I would,
2014 was,
going back to what we talked about at budget.
2014 was when that one was originally adopted and put forward. And to my knowledge, I sat with a different hat on when you guys redid that policy in 2020, but I don't think you changed the dollar value.
No,
No.
we didn't. No, we readopted.
Readopted the
Yeah.
2014. So
And there was a reason for not making the change. Until we
Correct.
felt like we could get ourselves or wrapped around the issues but now I think we can up that a little bit.
with 12 years.
I'm comfortable with it personally.
Basically, what we're saying is we're okay with any service that we get less than 15K not being the best that we can get or being competitive. That's what we're saying, right?
I would
No, I think,
maybe.
no, I think that getting the quotes is saying that they're doing their due diligence and making certain that we are getting.
But if it's less than 15, they don't have to, right?
Very rarely.
Technically.
Do you have something?
Per
Go ahead.
policy.
Go ahead.
Technically, but they typically do,
Yeah.
standard practice.
I was
So
gonna
then
say,
how
we
you word it for
typically
Yeah.
gather multiple quotes. It's very rare that we're coming up against having, maybe a good example for the audio visual, right? So we have a contractor that we already work with for audio visual. They might come in and they might do a recommendation of a simple fix at $3,000. But if it's a company that we've already been working with, a contractor that knows our systems, original installer to our system, the original technicians to the system, I think that would weigh heavily on going with the $3,000 one versus spending another couple weeks trying to get somebody to come out and learn the system and what to quote. So we do very much try to still take all precautions to get multiple quotes, vet the contractors, work with, people that have either been vetted and trusted contractors prior, or go out and do our due diligence to interview and have conversations with new ones.
But there is nothing, if we adopt this, there is nothing that would require you to do what you mentioned if it's less than 15,000, right? I'm not, you're saying you.
In writing,
Right.
there is nothing written in here. If it
Okay.
is something that you guys would like to add, by all means, we can. I think all I'm trying to get at is, in practice, some of the things that we've been tasked to do have slowed down significantly based on the procurement policy. We are trying to continue to move forward and keep momentum on projects. And when we have a meeting a month where you guys take votes at, it is sometimes difficult to get procurement taken care of because we're on a month delay.
Okay.
If you want to write it in here that you're going to maybe have it so that we report back at a finance meeting, and if there's a standing finance meeting, and if those finance committee members are able to, provide that checks and balance, if that's what you're looking for, I mean, we certainly can add the language here, but that's kind of the basis of
We
it.
do that, and
So,
there's
but
a
the
reason
point-
why we
Right,
do
and-
that.
Right, but the point is, if it's the process that we
Right,
follow,
right,
then
right.
let's word it that way. I think that's what you're saying.
So just put in writing what
And
we're
that
already doing.
doesn't constrain you, right? I mean, we can leave the number at 15 and you can continue to do what you're doing anyway. No, Emily? Maybe?
Do you have, go ahead.
I agree. If you want to add that language, that's great. I mean, because right now the problem is that, say we go through the process of the bid, but because we don't have a procurement that clearly states how it's done, even though we may have the price that best suits the project, there's times where we still have to wait for the finance to meet. But with this, we're kind of already doing that work, and per the policy, if she finds a better price, we can go with it, yet still having that backup to show finance a week later, a month later, this is the process that we went through. Versus right now, we really don't have that clearly stated. So this year, big on policies, right? So it's kind of like we don't have anything to fall back on. And I think this is more clear to it. And it's not saying that finance or the council will be cut out. It's just more that it will kind of
Slow down.
not slow down the process. Because right now we do that in practice, but again, there's times, where everyone's schedule could get hectic and we may not be able to meet with the two finance at the same time to have that discussion or something. But now we have at least a protocol where up to 15, we can go forward with the project when we find the contract that we feel that's best suited for it. And then we have the explanation and the backups to do so with you guys, to explain it.
And I would say the three areas that this will probably be the most impactful to would be town events. So when it does come to event season with Haymarket Day, we are hitting some of these numbers a bit closer, especially when it comes to your rentals of stages. And we're working with a singular company who we've worked with for probably over 10 years now. So that one will be affected. Maintenance, as I kind of went through some scenarios in here. And then I would say probably Chief's side on public safety with some of his vendors he uses as well. So I think what we were hopeful for in the the procurement policy was an ability to continue to work with trusted and vetted vendors. So if there's an option for sole sourcing, go through that method, but be able to have some flexibility in the expenditure so that we're able to keep things moving, work with contractors who, Haymarket Day, we've worked with before, or that they might be the only vendor of that style and type out there.
No, I do understand, you know. We don't want to be the bottleneck, right? In
Right.
terms of
Right.
you being able to do what you need to do, but you know, I think you would agree that we would want to get the most competitive rate, price, what have you, right? Whenever we're purchasing,
As always.
as always, right?
As always. They always do.
As always, right? And then in terms of, and again, don't take it the wrong way, right? I know we have vetted vendors that we worked with for X number of years, what have you. I think, you know, once in a while, let's do our due diligence to figure out whether the price that we're getting from them, right, is competitive, right?
Right.
But yes, it makes things easier to work with people that you've worked with before, especially if they've done a good job. But, you know, at the same time, we need to make sure that it's fair, right, when it comes to what they're charging us. So I don't know how we can.
A
make
procurement
sure-
officer.
You're dreaming.
Oh,
Right.
you say it enough times, right?
Do you want to take a crack at some of that language?
Yes.
next week?
Yes.
With keeping it at the 15.
I'm good at 15.
I'm good at 15.
I'm good at 15. But, you know, with some additional language, they add some protections. Can I ask about sole source
Sure. Go ahead.
when you're ready? I'll wait for you.
I'm ready.
So sole source kind of ties into what you've been talking about too a little bit, but you're talking about, you make a determination in writing. And who does that go to? Does that go to the council? Does that go to the file?
So in this context, I would say that a line probably should be added here of a notification to the council. Or maybe it's to the finance committee.
Hmm.
And the file, but
Yeah. I mean, if council's okay with the finance, I have no objection to that, or if you would prefer to see that yourself in writing. But that's for purchases less than 25,000, right? And then anything over 25,000, if I'm reading this right, then it has to go to council for approval.
that is correct. So the way I would understand this is that if it was under 25 and it was sole source, if the town manager were to make a determination of that, it would go in writing to the finance committee, and then finance committee would also still be reporting it back up to council in that nature.
But approval body would be the finance committee, right?
For under 25.
For under 25.
I think that even require approval, just
If it's under 20,
notifications to show that we've done due diligence.
Right.
and they have done this and this, right, with these two vendors.
Mhm.
The best price. That should be it, right? I don't want to be a bottleneck or prevention, right? Especially
And-
emergency things, right? Emergency purchases or.
in this sole source procurement, this discussion, and Roberta, correct me if I'm wrong here, and what our intent was, is this intent was to be able to utilize the state sites that have the state negotiated contracts. Is that how you?
Yes, simple example. A simple example was, when I was using this, I was thinking more of the sidewalk repairs. If we ever get an opportunity to actually do the concrete repairs, many contractors, they'll want to do the whole thing, but obviously we were talking about sections. So I was thinking sole source would be great because some of these vendors are already in the system. We can ask them to do a price here because the intent is to get the best price that we can. Also, by contractors that meet all the state requirements. Usually they tend to give a really decent price or lower price just because they're getting massive amount of works through these sites. So it was meant more for that, to be able to execute those contracts, those one-time things, and not go through the whole RFP process for one section of sidewalk to go through that whole process and then, have 4 or 5 different vendors come with different prices. But going more with what other jurisdictions are already using, that use sole source. So
And with that intention, 95% of sole sourcing would have to come to you guys anyway, because I think we could pretty much guarantee it'd be over 25.
Okay.
So that's the intent of there. I can work with Roberto. Maybe we can try to add a little bit more language around that being some of the state vetted contracts.
Yeah, this paragraph to me kind of looks like you're just saying that anything under 25 just needs you to say, hey, I'm going to sole source it. So most likely the money's already been approved if you've already hit the point of spending it, because your limit is 15. So this is just a defense for sole source, right? You're vetting.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, almost anything above that will already go through the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, those things conflict what's under sole source procurement, small purchase. So for small purchase, what we're saying, like any amount between 15,000, 45,000, you're gonna secure at least 2 documented codes. But at the same time, under sole source, we're saying you can award sole source to anything under 25,000 without requiring the 2 or more documented codes. So they're conflicting, right?
So the way I am seeing this, the first sentence of sole source is stating that if there is only one practicable available contractor or provider, that there would be documentation in writing of that determination. But then still anything over 25 comes to the council.
Sole source is under 25,000, and there's only one.
And only one.
Anything
good?
else? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to, in finance, just consider a little discussion on trusted vendors, if we can. But we don't have to talk about it tonight, but have a little conversation around that and criteria and how we establish that.
And let me add a second topic to talk about, is if it is appropriate for us to maybe put out some RFPs and get, like, just for an example, a contract with an electrician or a contract with an HVAC, so that maybe we can do some cost savings there as well.
Yeah, we used to do on-calls.
On-call contract, Mhm.
We used to do on-calls, but we had a whole list. We'd go through the process and do a selection. And we'd select maybe 3 or 4 or 5, depending on whatever. And then you would use that list would be your on-calls. You'd start at the top and work your way down. And sometimes we would have them bid within the on-calls too.
Okay.
So we can talk about that.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Are we good for now?
Good there, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
No other comments on this tonight?
No, I think finance will,
Set a meeting with finance.
yeah, I was gonna say, follow-up meeting with finance. All right, so next on the agenda is the draft RFP for the old post office HVAC and structural repairs. That is also you, Henry.
Okay, packet page 86. So I'm really looking tonight for feedback on the scope of services. So what I want to talk about is, in conversations, we brought in a second GC to look at the structure, walk it. We asked for the GC's initial feedback and ideas on what was wrong and how they would go about fixing it. So we did have very similar conversations to the walk with the original GC. What we were very impressed by in our discussions were elements of fixing the floor, doing remedial work, and then the process of going about putting in the new HVAC system. So with this second conversation we had, we went ahead and drafted the request for proposal, and we have put in here 3 scopes, 3 items that can be bid on. The second floor structural repair and remedial structural supports, installation of a new HVAC system and accompanying ductwork, and then the interior finishes to include the LVP floor. So on packet page 91, you'll see in red text, this is the main scope of services. I would like feedback on this. And then with council's blessing, I would like to move for a directive to work with our town attorney on finalizing this document and trying to get it posted as soon as possible. And then lastly, I have set in here, I probably at this point need to change the dates, but we would have 2 dates that they could come by. They would be required to come see the building in person, meet on site, and walk it. So that is also in here for the RFP. And yes, I'll definitely have to change it. It's on packet page 92, and it had April 20th and 21st as proposed dates. So we would bump that to May.
New guy.
You guys has a question here. So when we're talking about the scope of services 1, 2, and 3, structural, HVAC, and flooring, I think in the responses we get from all the contractors, I'd like to see that broken out into sections 1, 2, and 3.
Absolutely.
Not just one number. I want to see 3 numbers.
We would absolutely expect essentially task order 1, 2, and 3 that they would give the listing based on those 3. Our goal here was if we're going to hire a GC, let them sub it out as needed, but that there would be a singular person working on these services.
It'd just be interesting to see, because it'll help us get a better understanding of what we're going to be able to do in that
100%.
space.
Yeah, well, and that's how the RFP would read within those 3. Yeah.
Okay.
On the pre-proposal conference, we say that prerequisite to submitting a proposal is attendance, and then we say offerers who intend to submit are encouraged to attend. Can we change encouraged to required?
Yes, tell me what line, sorry. what
B.
page was that?
D1B.
D1B. Doing business hours.
Thank you.
Anything else right
For
now?
the
So
scope 1, 2, and 3 themselves, are there any questions? Or is there any detail that you find might be missing?
Not that I can think of. But I do like the fact that you reserve the right to award them separately. That's good. There's a hint for anybody bidding on the whole thing that you want to
Be
see broken
competitive.
out.
Yeah.
I don't have any comment.
There's no comment. Is council comfortable with giving a directive to work with this and our town attorney? And then as soon as we get a finalized document, go ahead and proceed with posting?
Alexander, are you okay with that?
Sure.
Dave?
As
Got everybody
as
else covered.
directed. So
Rock and roll.
so moved. Okay, thank you.
Everything's good.
Objectives.
No objection.
Thank
You have an
you.
objection?
Okay, what do we got next? We're gonna turn this over to Chief. I don't want him to be bored over there.
Chief.
Never bored.
So we're gonna talk about the town park closing hours.
I
Yes.
got this right here.
Oh, where is that?
My favorite thing.
All right, if you take a look at that, we received input. This is not your first look at it on the town park, basically after hours trespassing ordinance. And with input from Councilman Larson last month, we wanted to redefine dusk to be 30 minutes after sunset. So we did make that change, and so now we're looking for further input or any new input or any other further thoughts.
Yeah, I grew up with streetlights. I wasn't inside when the streetlights came on, I was in trouble, so.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
It is. This one's
feel like
pretty nuts and bolts. I do agree with the change. I think that was a good idea. And so,
I like the 30-minute because when,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did I get that?
well, of course, it's like with any ordinance or criminal code, application is the key. How do you apply it and
Yep.
make sure it's fair and adequate and not overused or underused or
Mhm.
utilized as a weapon, so to speak. So.
And that was going to be my only question on E, what statute applies there? Do we need to put that there or not?
Well, it's always good to know, I mean, it's going to be cross-referencing with the Code of Virginia for trespassing, so it's good to have that there. Unless the town attorney would see otherwise, but it's always good to have what the penalty is spelled out in the section.
Yeah, we added this provision because it makes sense to have something as
Oh, yeah,
some
definitely. The
teeth
teeth.
into it,
Right.
just in case you need to do that. In most cases, I think the chief and the officers be able to just give warnings and they'll resolve the problem.
Right.
Some cases will be repeat offenders, so you want to have a provision like this in place just in case you have to impose some punishment. So it makes sense to have it.
So should we include the statute itself?
No, you're not required to do that. No. Mm.
Was that your only question, Joe?
Hmm?
In regards to that, that was your only question?
In regards to the teeth.
Mhm.
But we don't need to put it in there. We're stating what it is.
Yeah.
Fair.
Public hearing for this will be for both of them?
Monday. Okay.
Chief, quick question for you.
Sure.
Looking on, I just searched for National Weather Service dusk and dawn. Do they actually define? I see sunrise and sunset, which is,
Yeah.
but they don't really, I don't know if they define dawn and dusk or provide the time. Do they, do you know if they do?
Most of the time, yes, you can always find a reference of when it's supposed to set or when the official set time is. But obviously, you have a visual that you could use as well
Okay.
of when it sets, as long as you know when it sets, so to speak, and you can start applying to 30 minutes. But otherwise, it would be whatever the National Weather Service says for that time that day. But obviously, it's not like we're going to be sitting there with a stopwatch. Again, it goes to the application of the ordinance.
Would it make sense? I see you looking at your phone. Would it make sense to add the URL for where it's located on National Weather Service so that there's an actual link there? So if somebody said, well, here's the
Basically
link.
referencing what we're going to use as a go-by,
Right.
is what you were saying.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that
I-
because
I-
URLs can change at any time.
That was what I
Agreed,
was just
agreed.
gonna say.
Yeah, yeah.
URL can change too easily.
Yeah.
I think as long as our guys are using a nationally accepted source, and what we can do is beef that up and put it in our policy that sources or resources that we should use to define what that time actually is, and to make sure that we're not sitting there with a stopwatch. I mean, none of the guys are going to do that, but I can't speak for what happens after I leave or another officer replaces one. So, we could put that in our policy to make sure that it's not abused or
Yeah.
that they have the resources available.
At the end of the day, it's to help you have enforcement.
Yep. Put some teeth.
And does it make a difference in terms of being specific when we say dawn is for the town of Haymarket, dusk for the town of Haymarket, right? Do we have to specify? Do we need to say for the town of Haymarket or is it necessary?
I think what would be just what is nationally accepted for our area would be my opinion.
The thing goes that I don't know if it says for our area, right?
Mhm.
And again, maybe I'm being too.
Well, it is a town.
It is our, I was going to say it's a town
Yeah.
ordinance.
Were you going to say nitpicky?
Nitpicky, yeah. Maybe I am, but yeah.
I mean, it's something that we're applying for our town.
So you would. Sorry.
That one. I'm good.
Can I ask a question about implementation?
Of course.
You're going to put up ubiquitous signage, right? Conspicuous.
Yes, we're going to get with the town manager and planner, make sure that we're good on signage. Obviously we don't want to turn the park into a signpost, but we want to make sure that people are notified. And of course, there's always that educational period of your regulars, maybe. So no stress there.
Are we having a problem at all up there?
Occasionally, but it's nothing that like, hey, move on sort of thing. And they always do, just like the town attorney just said, but if they say no, we want to
Yeah.
have
you
those teeth.
something behind it. Yeah.
So make sure it's applied equally across.
Cool. Thank you.
Honestly, being in front of the 8 ball, being proactive is better at all times than
Yeah, but
being
don't-
reactive.
I do think it's important to get this in place as we talk about it, we talk about putting a pavilion in place, putting a public restroom in place.
Mhm.
It will become a bigger problem once all those things are there.
Yep.
Agreed.
but if I,
Like the
gazebo.
Like your gazebo.
Like my gazebo.
but if I am caught at the park after dusk, don't be surprised if I respond by saying it's not dusk in Timbuktu, right?
I might have used that in an RFP response once.
Now I see.
Hawaii is 6 hours behind us.
Yes, sir.
There you
Well, it
go.
is here. so.
There you go.
All right, if we are good, we'll move on to the e-bike ordinance.
On that note.
Yes, obviously you have the original draft that was sent out in the packet. Did speak with the town manager and town attorney. He assures us that it is good. If you may remember, my concern last month was the fact that it seemed overwhelmingly to address people who was renting or leasing the bikes, not just people that, we wanted to address the people that had purchased bikes or owned them. So in speaking with the town attorney, he assured me that, this version covers it. We're good. But then one other little addition that'll be up for you all to discuss is Councilman Capicella brought forth a new version that he liked once he saw what was in the packet. I did forward it on to the town attorney for him to look at, but I think it would be better coming from you to say what your thoughts was on that.
Yep.
And then it's a discussion, at that point. Obviously, I'm not averse to either. It's what the council's pleasure is. The main thing is that we have something in place that, will not only give us some teeth and make sure that we can educate people and keep them in the right direction and not get anybody hurt, but provide a safer environment for the town. So I'll defer to you if you'd like to give a heads up on that.
I think we all see more and more e-bikes running around the town. So we need to get in front of this, same as the town park. What I did was, I stripped out all of the stuff mainly regarding the businesses that would be renting e-bikes in town. And I kind of focused more on if somebody owned an e-bike. I think we can address the rental if somebody were to ever approach us. But I think for now, I just wanted to get something in there that's a little bit more down and dirty and ready to roll just for the usage of e-bikes within town limits.
More narrowed view.
Yes. It went from
To where
8 pages
where
to
the
3.
potential problem would be, is what you're looking.
Correct. The current potential problem, not future potential
Truth,
problem.
truth.
Yes. And I know I sent it to chief, I sent it to town manager, I sent it to Officer Finley because the 3 of us are working on it together, and you forwarded it to the town attorney. So
Yeah, I wanted him to put eyes on
Yep,
it. Of course,
absolutely.
obviously, that's why he's here, is to get the best opinion. And I'll leave what his thoughts are, and then council can move forward how they see fit.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your concern. I really do. I think narrowing the issue to make sure the chief can enforce this code section is really the most important thing, right? So I think what I did was, after I talked to the chief and he made some recommendations about what he'd like to see, I did break out the application of this ordinance to specifically the people who are using the device, not business owners, but people who are actually on the devices. So if you look at 46-206, it says that this provision shall apply to any and all users. And it says no person shall use any device on a town sidewalk. It provides no person shall park a device in a manner that impedes more movement of pedestrian traffic and whatnot. Provides a miles per hour you can travel and not exceed. It also provides a punishment as well. So, this broken out in this code section, I think really addresses, Councilman, what you were concerned about, and also addresses what the chief is concerned about. In addition to that, if we're talking about being proactive, this is a very proactive ordinance because it's looking at the fact that you may have people come into town who want to rent these devices to people, and it governs them also. It sets up permitting requirements, sets up insurance requirements. I prepared this for the town of Quantico. I guess it's been a couple of years ago. It was adopted by them. It's been working seamlessly for them. This is a bit different. This is actually a better version because we did break out the section in which we make it clear it applies to everyone. So I like the recommendation. I like the change that we made to this code section. And then at the end, I think we included a civil penalty also for folks who are in violation of this code section as well.
So how do we enforce something like that to somebody 14 years of age?
What do you mean? If they're on
Well, that, I think that, do we need to denote that in here?
the age?
Well, I mean, or guardian, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure if we needed to note in there $150,
Yeah.
possible fine.
Who's required to pay?
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Well, juveniles commit offenses and they end up in juvenile court for speeding, for example. So it would be that kind of a thing.
Okay.
You end up in juvenile court and you have to give them possibly a fine, possibly some other sort of community service punishment for them to understand that they can't do things like this. But yes, this can be enforced against juveniles also. Hopefully we won't have to do that. I think once it's known in the community that we're going to start enforcing these things, there should be some parents who are talking to their kids about what they shouldn't be doing on scooters. This addresses scooters, e-scooters, and also e-bikes as well. I've seen a lot of those things around town too. So it's talking about more than just that one e-scooter device, e-bikes, e-scooters, and other things that are electric motorized. So I think it's really comprehensive and really well done.
I saw wording in the original one that said something with the tune of assistance of pedals.
Yeah.
And I changed it to with or without the assistance of pedals, because there are some e-bikes that don't have pedals on them,
True.
you know?
Yeah.
So maybe just think about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because that one wheel thing doesn't have pedals on it.
That's why I said 3 wheels or less.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and I have a question. I don't know if it regards like bicycle rules, which I think bicycles need to follow the rules of the road, right?
Mhm. Right.
I noticed a lot of them, they kind of, even though they're in the bike lanes and everything, the motorbikes that I've seen, they followed the pedestrian signs as opposed to when the lights turn green.
Mm.
The pedestrian sign says walk, they're crossing with the pedestrians. So I didn't know how that would fall in with the rules of the road and safety, if they should be integrated with traffic or if we should integrate them with the pedestrians.
Well, I mean, we could add some more language to this code section to address that kind of a situation, to make it clear that, if you come to a stop sign, you've got to stop. You can't just go through. So we can add that to it as well. So those specific scenarios you talked about.
Yeah, because I have seen some kids, go up to the stoplight, hit the pedestrian button and wait there for the pedestrian sign and then go with their bike. It's kind of like, should they be following road rules or should they be following pedestrian rules?
I get worried about that one though, because if we enforce it for e-bikes, we need to enforce it for the pedal bikes. And I see
Yeah.
guys on bikes with pedals
Doing the
racing
same
through-
thing,
racing
yeah.
through stuff. So we enforce it, we got to enforce it across the board.
And that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Do they follow pedestrian rules?
I think
or
they should
road
follow
rules?
rules of road like cyclists.
They're in the road, so they.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
They
follow
shouldn't be on the
rules.
sidewalks, they should be on the bike
lane,
lanes.
should they follow pedestrian lights or should they follow red lights?
They should follow red lights, I would think.
Yeah.
In the bike lane.
Yeah.
In the
In the
bike.
bike lane, for
They
sure.
should be on the
And-
sidewalk.
But the bikes-
Absolutely
And
right.
motorized
It
bike,
should not be.
and the
That's right.
motorized bike, we're restricting to
he's got
bike
it. He's on-
lanes too, or the roadway.
Yeah.
We're forcing them off the,
Sidewalks.
Forcing them off the sidewalk.
Yeah, right.
Also,
That's right.
it's, how do you enforce it? What do you do? It's educational. It's the same
Absolutely.
community
Yeah.
policing that we do. And when Officer Finley does his bike session,
Yep,
then
Yeah.
she's
we
planning on
can
one.
educate that too. So,
Yeah.
so are we wanting added verbiage for for bikes to be in bike lanes following road rules?
Rules of the
Or
road.
rules of the road?
Road rules.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a question, right?
would-
Directing what should be followed and what shouldn't.
Well, that's what I worry
Just
about.
to make it
One
clear,
wheels,
yeah.
Can we
maybe not.
cite the bicycle, ordinance or, code that says, following the code as defined in Virginia code, blah, 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 that bicycles must follow.
Definitely. We
I
can.
like that
we
idea.
can
Because
include that.
they should be
'Cause that way it-
educated in
And the
that
code
realm.
changes, we're still clean.
Right.
Follow Virginia ordinances.
Truth.
Yep, sounds great.
All right, good. Thank you, Owen.
You're welcome. Chief, are you comfortable?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%, buddy. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Great job.
Thank you.
So with that, we will go to the next item, which is the Code of Ethics. Emily?
Yes, so this came up in discussion in relation to our next agenda item as well. Council or elected official and appointed and elected official travel and training policy. We were discussing in that policy if the Section 8 would point back to the Haymarket Employee Manual or if it would point back to a different document. And so it was brought up that it would point back to a code of conduct or a code of ethics. A council member felt that we had already adopted this. Upon further research, we have not adopted it. Thus, we're back with the code of ethics document.
Okay, so.
Turning it over.
So in your packet, there's a draft code of ethics that was provided to you a while back.
Right.
And then I prepared another one that's on the dais as well. So the one that's in the packet is more truncated. It addresses a few things that I think are very important. The one on the dais is a lot more involved. It's a lot more expressive in terms of what you can do, what you should be doing in terms of how you treat staff, how you treat each other, where the punishments lie, who's responsible for evaluating any complaints, how they're evaluated, should they be dealt with in closed session or an open session. It has a lot of breadth in terms of what we should be doing in terms of ethics complaints involving council members. So, one of the dais is involved. It probably takes some time to read it through, but I think the language is absolutely solid. I think it'll be helpful to you all in terms of defining your roles and defining how you deal with tough stuff among you.
Or the one that you did.
Well, the one that I did, I think is the more comprehensive one. The shorter one is good, but the one that's on the dais is more comprehensive.
Yeah.
Quick
This is more teeth
Yeah,
in
it's
understanding
really
what
helpful.
our recourse is or
Yes.
what the repercussions would be.
Yes, absolutely, I agree.
We'll have to read it.
I have a nitpicky question.
Sure.
Right from the
Nice.
start in the preamble, it says, whereas the citizens and businesses of the town of Haymarket. Should citizens be changed to residents? Because we do not have only US citizens living in the country, living in the town.
That's a good change. Yep. So I would invite you all to spend some time with the policy. Circle back with me regarding comments and things you'd like to change or things you would like for me to, add some more information to.
Okay.
We can't interrupt or talk over people anymore?
Only I can do that.
Okay, so we'll do that and come back with any feedback.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely. All right, and then we'll move on into our travel policy.
I was just gonna ask, when do you want to come back with feedback? The next
Say
work
by
session?
next week's
Next
session.
week?
Next week,
Or,
Okay.
I'll email it. I won't be here next week.
next week.
I've got a few
Thank
things-
you.
Keep this
I've got a few
moving.
things on this.
yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel like it's been a minute.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't-
No, I'm just
So our
talking to
next
myself, I'm sorry.
agenda item directly correlates with the code of ethics. So this one, I do not have any additional modifications. The only question that we had outstanding was under section 8, modifying this to read that the town manager, mayor, and town council shall take appropriate actions as stated in the town of Haymarket. And then it would say town council code of ethics to document the actions and provide corrective action. So with that being said, do you all feel that you want to hold off on the travel training policy for appointed and elected officials until the code of ethics is completed and passed.
I'm sorry, where was that?
Section 8, last line of the document.
Thank you.
Mhm. Page 134 in the packet.
I don't pay mark employee manual can document the actions and provide.
I think it makes sense to have the two together
Mm-hmm.
with the passing or adoption of ethics and
Yeah.
travel policy.
I think the ethics
Okay.
is needed for this.
Yeah. That would be my
Yeah,
opinion.
that makes sense.
So you
So
guys will bring
be ready for
comments
next
back.
week. Is that what we're doing?
If you guys bring comments back next week on the code of ethics, you're not necessarily taking a vote on it.
Correct.
Correct. So I think that the travel training would hold till the May work session. Really, it would hold till the June 1st.
June regular meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Regular meeting for voting?
Yes.
Okay.
And then
That's the full-time town planner position, please.
yes, so the full-time town planner position was discussed. This is the draft full-time town planner job description. And if there's any further questions or discussion, I'm happy to take anything at this time. Otherwise, we can proceed forward.
Does anybody have any questions in regards to the job description?
I think we drove that into the ground earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Great.
I'm good.
Yep. Okay. With that being said, does anyone have anything additional that they'd like to discuss?
Motion to adjourn?
Got a motion
Second.
to adjourn, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.